The Buffalo Sabres are currently looking for a third game in a row. More on that and more coming up. So it is currently Tuesday, January 9th, and we are streaming in the middle of the Seattle Kraken versus Buffalo Sabres game. So if you see us looking off to the side, or if we get a little distracted for a moment, or if we celebrate a little bit loud, that's what's going on. But anyway, the Sabres are currently on a 2-game win streak, which is what I had hoped for my New Year's wish, that we would go on another win streak. They're looking to extend it to 3 with this Kraken game. Timmy, how are you feeling about the week that the Sabres had?
It's been a good week. I mean, I'm not going to complain at all with the Sabres. Last week I was kind of out on them, and then they come here with a 2-game win streak, and let's keep this thing rolling. I mean, Kraken are a beatable team, so let's hopefully get over this deficit right now, 4-2. We've seen this team come back with that. How have you been feeling?
Yeah, I think it's obviously it helps when we're winning, right? Like we haven't lost in 2024 yet, so that's very exciting. So new year, new team. Love winning. I'm not too sold on the way that they've been playing. In the Pittsburgh game, we saw that we kind of need to be bailed out by both the video coaches and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. So that's a little shaky. They even in the Montreal game, the first goal of the game gets called back because of the video coach. So that's a helpful little bonus. But I do think that we played better than Montreal, as we should. I believe we are a better team than Montreal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that we necessarily outplayed Pittsburgh. So a lot of that negativity, though, can be erased when you find yourself in the win column anyway. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that the week has gone.
Is that the first time that challenge has gone back-to-back for the Sabres in games? I don't think I've seen a challenge work in 2 games in a row for the Sabres at all. So
yeah, and we got, not only was it 2 games in a row, but it was 3 challenges between those 2 games that were all successful.
Yeah.
So currently, the video coaches are probably our MVPs for the week.
Yeah, or they have a horseshoe up there, you know what? So
yeah. Luck be with them. But yeah, anyway, to break down the games a little bit further, on Thursday we faced Montreal and we beat them 6-1 with big performances from the top line. Jeff Skinner got 4 points. Tage Thompson got 2 goals and an assist for 3 points. And overall, we just kind of dominated them.
Mm-hmm.
The next game was the Pittsburgh game. We won 3-1. One of them was not technically an empty net goal from Rasmus Dahlin at the end there, but that was basically an empty net goal. So it was kind of a 2-1 game, and they outshot us. It was 32-41, and it really did feel like that pressure was real and not just being peppered from the point. So that's what I was talking about earlier when I said it didn't feel like we necessarily we just got scored on 5-2. Seattle is ahead right now. Yeah, turn off the TV.
Yeah, we're just gonna do that real quick.
Yeah. I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know whether or not you like it.
You're a solid minute ahead of me too, so I'm you're just gonna call out the points for me anyway. So yeah, I'll give you give the result. I'll give the reaction.
Radio. But yeah, it seems like that whole not playing well thing has carried into this next game, and we haven't had 2 goals called off for them, and we don't have Levi just standing on his head for us. So here we are in the 3rd game of the week. I don't know if you consider it this week or next week, really, but it's the 3rd game of the week. And yeah, even if we lose this week, we're still up for the week. So I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good. Cumulatively, I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, yeah, the Sabres answers your New Year's resolution, and we're kind of seeing some changes on the power play too. And I know you want to delve into it. They're it's kind of positive, especially in that Montreal game, especially the way that they're scoring goals, because they're cycling the puck finally down low, and that's the way that they're scoring their goals too.
Right.
I don't know if there's anything you want to touch on that at all with the power play more.
Well, there's a few things. Like one, like you talked about cycling it down low. We talked about that. We talked about them sitting high in the zone, passing between Thompson and Dahlin, and it wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Creeping further into the zone, you're getting passes on the line, and those both times that we scored in Montreal on the power play, it was those. We passed it like from the bottom or like the is it a red line? I forget what color that line is.
Yeah, that's right. It's red. Yeah.
We pass it from the goal line, we'll say, and kind of across the crease, and that's how we got both our power play goals. That's down low. That's not just like passing it between Dahlin and Thompson until one of them take a crappy point shot. You're forcing players to move. You're forcing the goalie to move. That's encouraging. That's a change in philosophy for how you do things. And if you can move and be a threat down low, that opens up Thompson more for those opportunities to get a across the team pass, because they don't just sit there next to Thompson so he can't do anything. Yeah. Another thing that we saw with the power play that we both complained about actually was the drop back pass. The Montreal game, maybe like 2 of 6 entries were the drop back pass.
Yeah. That's refreshing to see.
Shifted from that. We saw people just take the space that was given to them. We saw more across the ice pass, and occasionally we'd still see the drop back. And again, it's good as a mix-up, right? If you do it every single time, it becomes predictable. It becomes bland. People will figure you out, and it becomes ineffective quickly. You can use it as a tool, but it shouldn't be the whole toolbox. And we saw that, and we were more effective in getting into the zone, at least from my eye test. I don't exactly have all the numbers, but it looked better. The whole power play looked better between the entries and how he moved it. It looked better. And so I'm glad that that's the case.
Like they say,
we have been harping on the power play because it has been bad all year.
Yeah. Well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And they kept on trying to do that drop back pass this whole entire season. And your power play was it was still 3rd last, which blows my mind. And they just kept trying to force that issue. And I guess having Donnie sick and watching from afar has kind of helped out the team a little bit. Maybe he got a bird's eye view and was like, oh, now I see what the fans are saying, like in real time. He got to be a fan and realize, oh, crap, this power play is a problem.
That, or as we've said before, he just listens to our show.
I hope so. He should. Everyone should.
Everyone should listen to our show. But yeah, I think that's about it for me for the power play. I don't think. Yeah. I mean, there's not much more to talk about. They changed how we did it, and it garnered results. So pretty happy. I hope to see that continue. Hopefully, we can get a power play during this game currently because we might need it. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with how the power play has gone. Just acknowledging the chat for a sec. We have Bills fan CA. That's Mike, right?
Yeah, that's Mike.
All right, so we got Mike in the chat. Good to see you guys. Let's get the hat trick tonight. And by hat trick, he means the 3rd win. Oh dang! Just saw the score. Yep, 5-2.
Yeah.
Not watching the game. What the heck, Levi? 5 goals on 20 shots. I will say Levi is not doing anything to distinguish himself. But as for a lot of the games that we've played, there's a defensive issue just going on. Like they're not playing well in front of him. So I don't put it all on him. I believe that the first goal was maybe just like a breakdown in the zone. They had a breakaway goal. They had a power play tip in. Then they had another tip goal. Like those are hard to goals to save.
Yeah.
Obviously, you hope to get maybe like one more or two more than you have, but it's not all on Levi. There is definitely a defensive issue going on right now. And to cap that off, Tom says we're looking sloppy tonight. Yes, I could not agree more with you. But thankfully, the period has come to an end, so I don't have to watch for another 18 minutes.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the defense has just been a theme throughout, even like this 2-game win streak too. You looked at the Penguins game and you saw how many chances that they had on net and how many defensive breakdowns that UPL kind of saved the team and bailed the team out, especially during that game. I feel like this is going to be a theme for this team for the rest of the season. I don't think the defense is going to get any better, especially when they're going to try to sacrifice defense for offense at this point. You're just hoping maybe this offseason, like we said last offseason, somebody puts something in there to say, hey, let's work on our defensive game a little bit. Let's watch some tapes going on. I noticed a little bit of a change. They cut down Owen Power's ice time, and you can see the results with him too a little bit more. I mean, is it like standing out wise? No, but you can see that he's playing maybe just a tad a little bit better than he was when he's carrying up 20 minutes in a game. I don't know if that's something that you noticed.
Yeah, so two things with the defense. One is that they changed up the pairings. So you're running Darlene Yokiharu, where it's Clifton and Samuelson, and then Power and Eric Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And with that shift, we see that that Power has gone down in minutes, and I do think it's helpful. I think it gives him more time to just like he doesn't have to be in at every moment. You know, it gives him some time to just think about how he's playing, what he wants to do better, and maybe try and apply it more than just like, all right, get back on the ice. You gotta keep playing. You just gotta get back. So I think that's helpful. Give him some time to decompress. I think that one of the more interesting things with Power, for me at least, is that he like never seems to be passing the eye test. And yeah, I think he's like +4 on the year. And obviously, again, plus minus team stat, but the team's not doing well.
No.
And
I don't know how he's
kind of a
ending up with all
standout,
this.
right? He hasn't let in. I don't, not including this game. In the past 7 games before this one, he had like 1 goal against while he was on the ice at 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really good. He's never passing the eye test for me recently. I don't know. Like, he's a bit of an anomaly to me in that regard. So maybe it's just kind of luck of the draw, but you know, he seems to not be on for many goals. Maybe there's a method to his madness.
He's not on for a lot of goals, but then you watch his defensive lapses and they just stick out the most. So
yeah, and it's like, how is he not on for many goals?
I don't know. Maybe the goalies are just aware that he's on the ice. They're like, all right, I got to play a little better this shift. Maybe that's how it's working right now.
Perhaps. Maybe they're more prepared for like any sort of, you know, pass in front of the net. They're like, Power has it. I'm not safe, even though Power has it on his stick, right?
Or, you know, okay, that the winger's coming into the zone and Power's not going to use his body to bump him off, so he's going to skate around him and get a nice little crappy shot from the corner on the net.
Prepared for that.
Yeah. So maybe that's going on through their head. But yeah, I mean, it's a statistical anomaly. I mean, he doesn't, like I said, it's not a standout that he looks better. He looks, I mean, maybe having Eric Johnson back there and maybe more of coordinating him a little bit back there is helping out more. Maybe this is something that will lead on further in the season. But right now, I've noticed a little bit of a difference. And like you said, if his plus minus is +4, then something's going right there. I don't know if it's him, but something is.
Right. Another just a little defensive like tidbit. I think that Yokiharu, he was getting healthy scratch, and I was complaining about it earlier in the season. I think he's looked good. I think he's looked very good on the top pairing, and more just kind of a personal confirmation that I was right. Yokiharu belongs in the lineup. At least compared to like some of the other people that were playing night in, night out, I do believe that Yokiharu is one of our top 6 defensemen.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him getting some top 6 minutes and some recognition from the coaching staff. So
Yeah.
another.
I was going to say, no, it's like having him up there is a lot nicer now, and then having Samuelson kind of out. I'm still not impressed with Samuelson's game at all either. And having him up at the top pairing was kind of annoying me at this point. But I think a lot of people, I don't know if it's for the coaching staff, I think more for the fans. I remember when they tried out Yokiharu on Darlene pairing him up with Darlene probably like 2 seasons ago, and Yokiharu looked out of place. But this season, he built up his defensive game. He fits in the role right now, so it's nice to see that from a player like that who's people want to get rid of.
I agree. Another defenseman that we're not seeing in the lineup the last 3 games is Ryan Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it. I do think that he's better than Eric and Connor Clifton. Although I think Clifton's been playing better recently. I do believe that his last, since that Columbus game, I think that Clifton has been better. I believe he belongs in, he plays like he belongs in a top 6, maybe even a top 4. But I do believe that Ryan Johnson is good and that he should be getting some ice time. And I don't mind, again, because we have people or other players like Henry Yokiharu back in the lineup and Connor Clifton playing well, I think that it might be okay to just send Ryan Johnson down now. If you're not going to play him, it makes more sense to just send him down, bring up a Jacob Bryson who you don't feel bad about not playing. If you bring up Jacob Bryson, it's not with the intent of playing him. It's just to warm the bench.
I just want him gone from the system, man.
Fine, then you bring up Riley Stillman.
No, I was about to say that. Bring up Stillman. That's fine.
You bring up any of these other tweeners, and it's fine, right? Whatever. It doesn't have to be Bryson, but you get
sorry,
the idea.
Not sorry, Bryson. Sorry, not sorry, Bryson. I'm sorry, man. Not sorry.
If the issue is if we bring Bryson up, the coaching staff might become too attached again, and we may have to see him play more games.
Or then we'll.
Why was he up for so long? It does not make sense still, but
I don't know.
Either way,
and the salary doesn't make sense either. But yeah, we have a question in the chat real quick.
All
Mike.
right. How many years do you give a first rounder to turn it around before you consider it a bust? What is Power's biggest problem in your opinion?
So I'll take the first part of that question. 4 years. I really do believe it's going to be 4 years. If your first rounder is coming in at 18, 19 years old, I mean, you saw it with a lot of guys. Darlene, after his first 3 years, was basically considered a bust. A lot of people were saying that he can't play in the NHL. The ice is too small for him. He'll never be able to play like he played in the SHL. Then you look at Casey Middlestat, too. I mean, has Casey Middlestat – I forgot what pick number Casey Middlestat was picked at. I think it was in the teens. I don't think he was in the top 10. But he started coming on last year. And he's 24 years old. So it takes a lot of times for these guys to develop, especially when you're thinking – they're coming to the NHL 18, 19 years old. Very rare that players can play that well. I mean, Connor Bedard, Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews, those are the guys that can play well their first rookie year in their teams. But most guys are kind of pedestrian. Like Zach Benson, he's having a great season for a guy that's picked where he was at. Now, is he a standout hockey player? Is he having an amazing rookie campaign? No. But he's a solid player. It's going to take him time to develop. The Zach Benson that we have right now is not going to be the same Zach Benson that we're going to have in a couple years. And I'm not going to call anybody a bust until their RFA status ends. That's usually what I consider after about 5 years is when it's time to let a guy go. Is that kind of what you feel too?
Yeah, I think that especially for defensemen, it can just take a second for them to get their footing in the league, right? For 2 reasons. One, as a defenseman, you're expected to play a little bit physically. You're at 18, just straight up you haven't finished growing into your body. You see many people coming into the league and they're just not they're not at the same level of physicality from a body perspective as everyone else in the league. It's just it's hard, and especially if you're a defenseman, you're supposed to play kind of like a harder play style than you expect from a winger or whatever. So,
but I was just gonna say, you see that in guys like Aaron Ekblad do and Victor Hedman. You look at those 2 guys' career pathways, and you kind of see how long it takes. Definitely chart them.
Victor Hedman took about like 4 years, like you said. So I'm not gonna call Power a bust until he's played like 4 years in the league. I think, and then like beyond that, Victor Hedman really took off after those 4 years. I think it was he played 4 years, and they were like okay years. And then his 5th year was good, and then his 6th year is when he really like took off, right? Yeah. So this is Power's 2nd year. I guess he played a year of college, so maybe his 3rd. 4th year, still kind of like you're not expecting him next year either. That's how far off we are.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's something that I'm like super like putting the gas on. Like you need to figure it out. Same with like JJ Peterka's going through a rut right now, right? Like he was good at the start of the season, kind of hit a rut right now. It happens.
Yeah.
He's one of those people. He hasn't really grown into his body yet. He feels like he, in a few years, could be great at kind of like dump and crash kind of play style. And he's fast. He's got that speed, unlike anyone on our team. Like he is probably the fastest on our team. And when he bumps into people in the corners, he bounces off of them. Like,
yeah,
it's a part of the game that'll come with literally just like growing. So it is what it is. 4 years, I think, is probably fair. And we're seeing some of those people come up into their 4th year. And then after that, we'll see how they are. But like, it's too early to judge a lot of these players. And as far as what Power's biggest problem is, in my opinion, it is like the physicality. I think that he gets pushed in front of the net too much. Like he's not great at marking a guy in front of the net, which will lead to easy tap-ins for guys, or in the corners. Like he gets bullied. And again, he'll get bigger and stronger. He'll fill out his frame more. That's something that I don't think is going to be too big of an issue. I know like maybe he plays a little bit like a smaller guy anyway, but having that extra muscle on him will help him win more battles, and it won't feel as frequently like, even if he continues to play the style he does, it won't feel like he's as small anymore once he just puts on some muscle.
Yeah, exactly. I think he just needs to learn to be more assertive too. There's a few players on our defense that needs to be a little bit more assertive. Looking at Powers and Samuelson, they just need to be. I mean, and I think that maybe comes more with confidence in their game too. So hopefully that grows with them as well. So yeah, I mean, that's going to come with time, like we mentioned. Power. I mean, and the other expectation that people have to set for Power too is he's not going to be a Dahlin type of defenseman. They're not at the same level. Dahlin was a generational player. Power was 1A, 1B in the draft that year for himself. So he's going to be a good player. He's going to be a solid player, but he's not going to be a generational type of defenseman that you can get. And then, Mike says, thanks, guys. I'm impatient. I want to see these guys shining immediately, but I get it. Yeah, Mike, you're a football fan. So football rookies, they're standouts their first year, couple of years, and then they burn out after that. Hockey players, we got a little bit of time. Takes us to grow a little bit of growth, and then usually have a little bit longer careers than NFL players do.
It's also more of a crapshoot for the drafting because, like, if you're coming out of if you're coming into the football draft, you're gonna be maybe like 22 during your rookie season or whatever, maybe like 21, 22. Here, like they're 18-year-olds. If you're Owen Power, you still have like another year before you'd be eligible for the draft, right? For football, like that's how young they are compared to the guys. Like it is pretty much a crapshoot for the NHL draft because you just never know what they're going to grow into, and you're doing a lot more projecting.
Yeah. And the other thing that people have to take into account too, especially with the European skaters, is the different in rinks. And over in Europe, they're playing an Olympic-sized rink, so you get to play. You have a little bit more free ice zone to play and carry the puck a little bit more, whereas in the NHL, you have a smaller rink, so you have to make faster decisions. That's why I kind of see, like, especially Dahlin, that took him a little bit of time. His playing style that he played back when he played in the SHL is completely – I wouldn't say it's completely different, but it's a lot different than when he plays now in the NHL, just because he had a lot more freedom there with a lot more ice. And that European adjustment takes some time too. So that's always considered when you're drafting European players as well. But yeah, one other thing I wanted to pick up on, I don't know if you saw, so Jack Quinn's kind of been on a tear right now, coming back into the league. Did you see his comments where he spent most of his time shooting on the net and then watching tapes of Austin Matthews, Kucherov, McKinnon, and seeing what they do off the ice, is that something that's like, I don't know, that got me kind of a little bit of pumped up. I'm like, okay, this guy's actually wants to become something. I don't know if that's something that is stand out in this game.
I think one of the interesting things that we're seeing in this new generation of hockey players is they're all just completely like students of the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, going back like Crosby, and he like obviously watched a lot of film. It's different with these guys. They grew up with like YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And so they watch so much more footage, and they're always trying to learn and pick up little nuanced things. It's interesting to see. And then obviously as a result, you get guys doing like Michigan goals, or like you're at a point in the league where it's the most like skilled the league has ever been, instead of you're phasing out some of the fighting for some of the like between the legs goals and stuff. Like, I do think that it's good to hear from Jack Quinn that that's what he's doing, that he's watching the best shooters in the world and saying, how can I incorporate that into how I shoot? But I think that with a lot of these younger guys, that you probably see that with them. Like, they're probably all doing that same thing. They all want to release it like Bedard and Matthews.
I don't think anyone can shoot like Bedard, to be totally honest with you.
It's weird.
I watched that. So I watched that. I don't know if you watched his pre-draft profile, where how he developed his shot was he broke his wrist. So he was just shooting on the back rink of his house using just one arm. And that's how he developed his shot like that. Isn't that crazy?
That makes sense why it's so weird. Like,
and I was watching something, I don't know, it was a podcast, and they had a poll, and they were asking who has the quickest shot in the NHL. I'm like, it's hands down Bedard. Like, there's no question anymore. Like, he has the quickest shot in the NHL. It's insane. He just snaps his wrist and the puck's flying 80 miles an hour at the net. I don't know. But speaking of Bedard, fractured jaw. Did you see anything on that hit that was like, oh, yeah, that's definitely something? It wasn't a dirty hit.
Right.
But I didn't even see anywhere where he hit his jaw either. So I don't even know how he broke his jaw at all.
He definitely, it was shoulder into jaw. The issue was, like, it would have been shoulder to shoulder. One, if Bedard wasn't reaching, Bedard found himself in a weird position where the puck was in front of him and he was kind of reaching forward to it, kind of lunging at it. Yeah. And then also, Bedard's short. Where other players' shoulders are, Bedard's head is. There was
5'10".
nothing illegal or like dirty about the way that hit was thrown. It was the way that anyone gets stood up in like center or in neutral ice like 80 times a game. But because he was lunging forward, it just all took it to the chin.
It's crazy to think that him and Benson are the same height, and Benson dropped because of his height, essentially.
Yeah, in fairness, Benson is not Bedard.
Well, yeah, I mean that too. Yeah,
you kind of have a little bit of like Bedard is far and away the most talented player in that draft. Like, you got a guy who's maybe questionably number 5, and he's short, and you have questions about like does his play translate if he gets bodied every night? I understand where you're coming from if you're a GM, but you're also an idiot because this guy's great.
He's a very solid player. I mean, he definitely should have been a top 10 pick. The fact that he dropped out of the top 10 is insane. And I mean, there's a couple other things, like he's a below average skater, which I don't even know. Like, all right, what's an average skater?
Yeah, but he's a below average skater kind of in a way that like Jeff Skinner is. Jeff Skinner's not fast in a straight line, and his acceleration isn't crazy, but the way that he moves on his edges allows him to deceptively take away space. And it's helpful because he closes in areas really quickly that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
So I don't know. His not being great at skating doesn't feel like a fair critique.
I never understand like the comparison of skating wise. So what is like the bet is McDavid like top tier for everything? Is that what we compare everyone to? Is like McDavid's skating is top tier, and then everyone else below that, and then Bedard's shot is top tier, everyone else is below. I just want to know, like, what are we comparing this to say what's average, what's average, what's above average? I don't know.
If you're like true below average is like Brett Murray. There's a lot of players in this league who like kind of blend into the middle of the pack. And I think that Benson's skating will fall exactly there, where you can't really point out whether or not he's faster or slower than anyone on the ice, because like, I don't know, he just kind of he'll have like an average speed.
Mm.
I think that you see with like someone like McDavid, the only reason that you notice him as fast is because he's like actually a standard deviation ahead of everyone else. Like, there are fast skaters in the league, but you don't ever really like, no one ever really talks about it. Like Dylan Larkin's really fast. Even
Yep.
Eric Robinson, that's a really fast dude. JJ Peterka's really fast, but they're not like full standard deviations. Like McDavid can take a single step and he's like a foot behind you.
His stride is
It's
insane.
Crazy.
Yeah,
The explosiveness of it. Like, so unless you're falling a full standard deviation above or below, which Benson isn't, he's not falling a standard deviation below. Like, it's not actually that much of an issue.
He's got short legs too. I mean, gotta give him a break.
He can't generate that explosiveness that McDavid does.
Yeah. I had another thing that I wanted to bring up from the Montreal game. Joel Armia, former Sabre prospect. Is he a Sabre killer? I know they didn't lose, but I think he has points against the Sabres every game this season.
There are a couple players like that, and yeah, I think Armia is probably one of them. He just seems to like to show up against us. Another one we saw in Pittsburgh was O'Connor.
Yeah.
That guy's
scored again.
He's a fine player, but every time that we're facing him, it seems like he's trying to just, or like it seems like he finally realized his full potential every time we face him. He lit us up in preseason, and that was his like big, probably the reason, or one of the bigger reasons that he actually made the team. But
we definitely helped him out. We're an ego booster for O'Connor.
Yeah, but like he always shows up against us as well. Even during the year, like I think in the other two games we played, one or two games we played against Pittsburgh, because I think the one that we just played was our last one against them.
Yeah.
But like I think he's maybe got like 4 points against us in 3 games for a guy who is not exactly known for his point production. Another guy that I saw, or that I see occasionally, is like Capo Caco. He seems to always produce against us, when I think at the time, like when we last played him and he got a point, he has like 12 points on the season, and I feel like 4 of them are against us. Like,
yeah. I mean,
so I don't know. I don't know. There are some guys who just see us and they mark it on their calendars and they're like, this is where I'm getting my paycheck. But yes, I think Armia might be one of them.
Yeah, and another one is definitely Austin Matthews. I mean, Austin Matthews has that against every team. But
Austin Matthews scoring at like 2 goals a game right now. It's not us. It's
it's the player. It's the shot.
Yeah.
Cool. And then and the other thing, Dahlin, Josh Allen, who has the better bombs? I mean, Dahlin scoring open net goals from the end of the zone in both those games. We got to get a competition going.
Yeah,
who has the best accuracy?
I'm personally going to go with Dahlin because love Josh. I don't think his year this year has been spectacular. Oh, look, Devin made a save. We are incredibly proud of you, Devin.
That's your dad, right?
That's my dad. Hi, Dad. I want a podcast.
Thanks for joining us. Is that a sarcastic? Is Devin made a save?
I believe so. Yeah, he's quite the sarcastic guy.
There you go.
And with the fact that, as Mike pointed out earlier, 5 goals on 20 shots, that's a 800 save percentage or something. Yeah, we're all proud of you, Devin. Congrats on a save. Yeah. You earned it.
Life of a rookie goaltender. I mean, what are you gonna do? That's
another, like, bringing up the Mike saying that he's impatient and wants these guys to shine immediately. Yeah, it's yeah, you have to wait. It's a rookie goaltender. He'll come into his own eventually, and yes, I am famous. I want a podcast.
Kids. Oh man, I haven't been called a kid in a while. Shoot. Mike
disagrees. He thinks that Josh Allen is greater than Dahlin all day. I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with you.
They have to do so before the Bill season next year, they have to do what Jack Hughes did with Eli Manning, and just had like a skills competition where they're trying to shoot the puck and hit the crossbar. So Dahlin has to do that. Jack Hughes actually hit it, which was amazing. He shot it from like the 40-yard line. Then they have to do like a throwing competition. So we'll see who's the best one there. So Mike, let them know that St. Nicholas City Mafia will sponsor this competition, stream exclusively on Nicholas City Mafia, and
I'm
any
sure
money.
they're just chomping at the bit to work with us.
Well, we just have to we'll throw a charity in there, and they'll definitely do that. So
true. They do like charity, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else that you've noticed throughout those two games at all?
No, I think we mostly covered it. It's for me, the big things that happened during the two games were three big things: the video coach, the power play, and the change in the defense. So
nice.
Yeah.
Video coaches getting some shine. I don't know if that's ever happened in the NHL before, so good for them. I don't even know who our video coaches are. I know Michael Pekka was supposed to got offered that position. And he said, hell no.
Yeah, I think one of them was named like Justin. I don't know. That's the best I got.
One of them's named Justin.
they like showed a graphic during the last game after, and like I think one of them was named Justin. I would love to know better, but I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to go over our 3 stars. We can kind of go over what's else is going on in hockey then.
Yeah, we can do our 3 stars and then move on to hockey around the league that isn't our team. Yeah, go Justin.
Go Justin. We'll make shirts. Go Justin shirts.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Mike, get them printed. Let's go. Go Justin.
So anyway, I think my 3 stars from the week, got to go with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen as one of my stars. He was great during that game. He was the reason that we won. I'll give a shout out to Jeff Skinner. He has a goal in this game. He had 3 points in the Montreal game, which, by the way, he bullies Jake Allen. So like we were talking about players that show up against us, Jeff Skinner loved to show up against Montreal.
Yep.
And Jake Allen specifically. So I'm going to give one to him. And then for my first star of the week, I actually am giving it to the video coaches because they, along with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, won that game for us.
All right. I love that. I love the video coaches. Go Justin.
Go Justin.
All right, cool. Yeah, so my 3 stars, not in any particular order. Jeff Skinner, I had him. Like you said, what did you say? It was 3 points?
I believe he was 3 points
3 in Montreal.
Montreal. I don't know if he had any in Pittsburgh. He had... No. I don't think he had any in Pittsburgh.
Because it was Clifton gave that pass to Tuck. I mean, breakout passes have been working out again.
Unassisted. Zemgus got one, and then Tuck got one.
Yeah. So. But still, I mean, he's showing up. I think he's still the leading point getter on our team as well. So
I think going into this game, it was Middlestat by like 1 point, and Middlestat and Jeff Skinner both have 2 points this game. So they're keeping it even, keeping it tied.
They can duke it out. He's having a good season though. He's kind of quietly having a good Skinner, good Skinner, good season. Just because I don't know, it's almost like you expected of him to score the goals that he does. It's just like a consistent thing at this point.
Yeah, I think he, since Ralph left, has really found his consistency, and he's never gonna be the guy who, like, I don't know. He's not really a point per game guy, but he consistently will put up points. Yeah, and that's what we're seeing out of him, and no complaints there.
Mm-hmm. And then another star I'm going to give to is going to be UPL. UPL just stole that game against the Penguins for us, so long ways come. So we were going to cut him off the team earlier this season. Now he's our starting goaltender here, so good for you, man. And then my second star. Or my final star, I was between the two. Like, really no one else was standing out to me. I'm just going to give it to Levi. Just because goes home, plays in Montreal, still lets up maybe not the best game that he could have had, but still lets up 1 goal and gets the Sabres a win too. So he did his job, needed what to do. I was thinking about giving it to Tage Thompson, and only because Tage Thompson was talking about how he finally got his wrist guard taken off, and now he feels free to play hockey. He's been looking better out there too.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to Levi. I mean, both our goalies, they had pretty solid games. UPL had a way better game than Levi did, but I mean, still, I think both those guys deserve some stars. They're helping us get wins out there. So, yeah. All right. So Mike has another comment. Nicholson Mafia is going to have 24 waffles delivered to Timmy and have a 24-hour live stream if needed. For every waffle Timmy eats, he'll reduce his time by 1 hour. Tickets on sales.
Mike really likes the idea of you eating waffles on stream, and I don't blame him. We almost just let in a shorthanded goal. This is embarrassing.
Really?
But, yeah.
All right.
We're on the power play, by the way. So go Sabres power play. We iced it on the power play.
So I thought we were talking this about before the show. I had a superstition, and I thought, all right, I haven't really watched the past 2 games, so maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not allowed to watch the games. And I was like, I'm not going to watch this one at all. So started the stream, not watching the game. They score again to go up 4-1, and then I turned it on. They scored to go 5-1, and then this is going on. So, yeah, that superstition is no longer a thing anymore. Just want everyone to know that.
Hey, you got something wrong. It's 5-2. We're at 2.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
2 goals. My bad.
I believe we were tied at 2-2 at some point.
We were. Yeah. I was thinking of the Montreal game, thinking back to the good times.
The good old days.
Game. Hold on. So Nicholson Mafia is going to have 24 waffles delivered to Timmy and have a 24-hour. So I have to eat a waffle for every hour?
No, I think that it's like 24 hours, but for every waffle you eat, it reduces the time that you need to stream by an hour. So you could down the 24 waffles just immediately and the stream's over.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
How many waffles do you think you're getting down?
Depends on what's the type of waffle that we're working with here. Is it going to be a big Belgian waffle? We talking those nasty ass Eggo waffles that are like this thin? Are they gluten-free ones? Because I'm not going to eat gluten-free waffles. I'm scarred from those from back in high school.
I imagine they're from the Waffle House.
Oh, from the Waffle House.
Yeah.
They got some pretty decent sized waffles. All right. I could definitely get 24 in 24 hours. If I gotta eat 24, I'd probably get them down in I'd give myself 4 hours. I'm not gonna feel good afterwards. I'll probably toss my cooks after the stream, but I'll power through. Do I get different flavored waffles? Do I get chocolate chip ones and then cinnamon?
No, they're all plain, and you don't have have syrup on them either. Yeah, it's just
no condiments.
Yeah, it's dry. It's just dry.
Can it be like the hot dog eating competition where I get at least a dunking water where I can dunk? I mean, okay, well, we're screwed here.
24-hour stream.
It might be a little bit longer than 4 hours because I'm going to dry out real fast. I'm going to be like SpongeBob.
You can drink water.
Your choice, Timmy. Oh, so I get a choice. All right.
All right, well, that's a little more lenient than I would have given you, but
Sam just wants to torture me. Mike's like, I'll give him a little help.
As one of the content creators for the channel, Mike has your best interests at heart.
He just doesn't want to see someone die on YouTube,
and it be his fault. But...
Alrighty then. So I just want to go around with stuff from the at NHL. That Cutter Gauthier situation. What do you think about that? Let's get off of waffles.
Well, Cutter Gauthier, the current situation going on for those who don't know is that Cutter Gauthier, Philadelphia Flyer pick from last year, I want to say maybe 2 years ago now. 2 years. He didn't report for camp this year, and then during the World Juniors was not talking to his team as they were trying to talk to him. And he ends up getting traded. And as it turns out, he had basically told them that he was not going to play for them. Now, we'll talk about the trade later, but I think we should talk about the whole not going to play for them and the impression that makes. At first, people were really quick to be like, That's just unprofessional. I don't know why someone would do that. Cutter Gauthier is pinning a target on his back. Not all the details were released yet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I agree. It doesn't look good to say, hey, like, I'm just not going to play for you and you guys have to deal with that. Trade me. Like, that's especially for a highly touted prospect like that. And obviously, we've seen it in the league before, but it's never been something like, even when it's happened before, it's never been something where people are like, yeah, that's cool. Good on you for doing that. It's always been frowned upon. As it turns out, the most recent reports say that Cutter was looking to get a entry-level contract last year and did not get offered because of like bonuses. The team was trying to save money by signing him a year later, basically. So he doesn't get the contract offer. The team saves money, and he is basically like, I wanted a contract. Like, I wanted you guys to sign me. I wanted to be a part of this, and you didn't sign me. That's where the disconnect came in, it would seem. And I think that's kind of reasonable. He told them in advance that he's not going to sign with them, which gave them the opportunity to trade him. If he wanted to, he could have just stayed in college and then become a free agent. So I don't think that what he did was necessarily like as terrible as a lot of fans like knee jerkly wanted to be like it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
No, with the new details that are coming out, like you said, it's making sense. If he was committed to the team last year, because there was a lot of things coming out. One was he doesn't want to play with John Tortorella because he heard from Kevin Hayes that he hated playing for Tortorella. He didn't want to play there. And Kevin Hayes is kind of like his connection in the NHL, like his close friend there. Then you heard things where the Flyers were telling him, well, you're not going to be coming straight into the NHL. You're going to be playing in the AHL for a year before you come out to the NHL. And he said he didn't want to do that. So you're just hearing all these things. And then it's finally, like you said, more details are coming out. I'm sure more are still going to come out. But it's reasonable. If he was willing to join the team last year and he didn't get signed because his performance in college, he played pretty well. I mean, he played pretty well in the World Juniors this year too. So he should be in the NHL by the standards of which he plays. So the fact that the team didn't sign him to a contract last year, it's kind of mind-blowing. So, and if it's all because of money reasons, then why is the owner of that team owning an NHL team? To be totally honest with you, you don't buy an NHL team or any sort of sports team to profit off of money, because usually you're just losing money off the team because you want to win. Either way, that's a crazy situation. But the thing that's going to suck for him, though, is the NHL is the boys' club. It's old school.
Yeah.
You now have a reputation, which if is your fault or isn't your fault, it's going to stick with you for a while. Because even like the reaction of like Danny Briere, where he's just like, he told me he didn't want to play here, so we got rid of him, and he ghosted us at the World Juniors. Which, if he did do that, then, I mean, you should have some sort of form of communication. I don't know who's giving him that information not to talk to the team, if it's his agent or what. His agent should step up and say something. That's not a good look. But then the reaction of Tortorella, too, being like, I wouldn't be able to point out who Cutter is between a hole in a wall or something like that.
Yeah, it's just,
I mean, the fact that the team is also throwing the kid under the bus, too, is just insane. It could have been a very reasonable or amicable breakup where it's just like, hey, he told us he didn't want to play on the team anymore. He's probably not going to sign with us once his rights are up. So we just got rid of him, and we made a pretty good trade. So that's my thoughts. But it just sucks because this is going to linger for him for the next couple of years, I think, at least. A reputation he didn't deserve.
They just showed
the trade,
a graphic with
sorry,
they showed a graphic for the game going on right now where we're out shooting and out chancing the Kraken. Maybe it is Devin's fault. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt earlier, but maybe it's Devin's fault.
Do you think they're ever going to switch from? Because I think they did it for a little bit. The every other game switching. Are they going to just? Are they going to go get to a point where, hey, maybe we should ride the hot hand? Like UPL had a great game last time.
I think we're probably about to see that because I think as this season has gone on, more and more it feels like Devin Lee or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is our best goalie.
Yeah.
And I don't think that at this point that's too controversial. There was a stretch earlier where he was like putting up good numbers in consecutive games, and it was just like, you know what, we're winning with this guy. He's putting up good numbers. I think he might just be our number one guy. And so I think that after this, he might see that. He might see a few Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen games in a row. And I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
No, I mean, it's fine. It's not going to hurt Levi's feelings. I mean, he's a rookie goaltender, like we said. And depending on what the goals of the Sabres are right now, if you guys want to win, then you should be playing the goalie that's going to give you the best chance. Yeah, that's for sure.
Anyway, back to the trade. In return for the rights to Cutter Gauthier, Anaheim gives up a second-round pick and Jamie Drysdale, who is a defenseman from, maybe he's like 4 drafts ago now.
Yeah, he's 4 drafts.
So he's trying to think which Sabre player. Is that Dylan Cousins? Maybe JJ and Jack?
Because it was Benson, Savoy, Power, Quinn.
Quinn, okay.
Because Cousins before Quinn, yeah.
He would have been in the Quinn draft. So he's still a pretty young guy. He's been playing in the league, though. He is an NHLer.
Mm.
I think it's a weird move. Something that we talked about last stream, I believe it was if you are getting stuck in a constant rebuild, right? Where you have guys who are now like maybe going to phase out. Like we were talking about in the context of like Tage Thompson, right? We get younger. Guys like Tage Thompson stay here for a while, and then all of a sudden, like, what if he wants to leave, right? Now you're losing part of the core, and you have to replace it by getting younger prospects. You get in this carousel of like, guy hits 27, and now we replace guy with a prospect who's 18 and won't be ready for 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Anaheim, I feel like kind of did that just now, right? Cutter is a 19-year-old, maybe he's 20, and Jamie being like 21, 22 is like they're resetting the clock on that, right? So now, like you're saying, okay, the future is with Leo Carlson and Cutter Gauthier, which fine, those are great pieces. But what happens with Troy Terry? That team's not going to win while Troy Terry's on it.
No.
And he's a good piece to have, and you'd want him when your team is winning. But that team's not going to win while Troy Terry's on it.
No.
The timeline just doesn't match. So now you got to go further into your rebuild again.
Yeah. And how long did they have Gibson for?
Yeah, Gibson is not going to win with the Anaheim Ducks. Like that move solidified. Like they are pushing back their rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Drysdale was a part of their current rebuild, and they have now openly been like, we're pushing it back 2 years. Like that's what that move is. And I don't necessarily I think that Cutter is going to be a good player in the league, but I think Jamie is too.
He's a right shot D. Right shot D is like gold in the NHL right now. To find a good skilled right shot D, I mean, I think Philadelphia won that trade, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah. I think Philadelphia won on the merit that the guy who they traded wasn't going to sign with them anyway. So
yeah, they got something where they got a pretty good return for somebody that wasn't going to sign with them. So yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think they're really complaining about that one. I do just think, I don't even think it's like a bad deal in a void, but I think that it's a weird one for Anaheim to have made. Because now I don't think you're going to see Zegras or Troy Terry or Gibson stick around because they are not the team that Anaheim's trying to get to win.
Yeah.
It's one that involves Leo Carlson and Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah, that's throwing a lot of eggs in another basket. So
Yep.
they have a very that's a very interesting. I've watched that team from afar. I don't really watch them, but I kind of see what's going on with them,
Yeah.
type of thing. And they're a very interesting team because a lot of things don't make sense on that team, to be totally honest with you. Like I don't see what they're building towards. Like you mentioned, it's just it looks like another rebuild's coming up on the horizon. So I don't know how much longer they go with that. So yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, because I think I know what the transition is. Speaking of Cutter Gauthier, did you know that he tied for the point lead in the World Junior Championship with our Yuri Kulik?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that transition us so well into talking about the World Junior Championship?
You said it better than I was going to say it, Sam, to be totally honest with you. So good for you, man. You're reading my mind right now. That's what makes us good podcast hosts right here. Yeah. So, the World Junior Classic ends and Team USA wins. But a lot of Sabre prospect standouts. Like we were mentioning on the last show, Yuri Kulik had a solid tournament. He, like you said, tied in the lead for points. Was the captain of Czechia too. So he overall good World Juniors. A lot of people are saying he might be the top prospect in the NHL right now, which that's high praise. I'm also interested in that too, just because he's a very offensive oriented player.
Right.
And he also has a very good outside shot, but mostly besides that, he still has a lot of game to develop. So,
right. We've seen him in the NHL before. We know that there's a lot left to be desired with his game.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that he's like bad by any means. It just means that there's more to his game that needs to be developed before he's really before he can really be an NHLer. If it were just based on his like offensive ability, he's probably an average NHLer. Like I bet if you gave him more time, he would have started putting up some points here with us. Yeah. But
do you think his development is kind of up in the AHL? Or do you think the coach needs to challenge him to change his game up more? Because is he going to further develop if he gets called? I think we're all assuming that he's going to be coming up next year with Rosine. That's just like an assumption. A lot of people thought he was going to come up this year, but next year. Do you think the only way he changes and kind of develops his game more is going to be playing in NHL? Or is Seth Appert going to be like, or someone, maybe Granato or Kevin Adams needs to be like, and do what they did with Jack Quinn and tell him, this is what you have to do with your game before you can come up and play with us?
I am sure that they're having conversations about his defense right now. One thing that we saw with JJ and Jack in their final year in the AHL is they were getting just like every possible minute. They were putting them out like in crunch time. They were putting them out on the power play, on the penalty kill. They were giving them every opportunity. They were giving them every opportunity to just play minutes. And I think with Kulik, it's probably what we're going to see. Like if we see highlights of Kulik on the penalty kill in Rochester, that wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that we're looking at his game and we're like, yeah, what we need to do is get you scoring more because that's just not the case, right?
No,
you need to round out how you play defense. Yeah. And so I think that that's probably what we will see happen. But yeah, I do think that I do think that we see him just maybe coached a little bit differently going forward, because at this point you're no longer just priming, or you're no longer just like trying to get him to play minutes. You're priming him to get to the NHL, and what he needs right now is defense.
Yep. So that was like one question that I had, but overall, Sabres prospects had a very good showing in the World Juniors with Noah Ostlund, Maxim Strabik. Oh shoot, I forgot what the other players were.
Noah Ostlund, Sturback, Panaka, Savoy, who got injured.
Savoy, yeah.
Wahlberg.
Yep.
And then Yuri Kulik, of course.
Yeah. So strong showing for everybody there. The other thing
probably other than Panaka and Team Germany.
Yeah. So that kind of ended. But take a chance if you want to, like we mentioned last show, check out the highlights. I think the Sabres are actually putting out highlights of their prospects in the tournament too on YouTube. So take a look at that. World Cup of Hockey was brought up. So they're thinking of having a 4-team World Cup of Hockey with USA, Canada, Sweden, and Finland. I think it's going to be 2020. Might be this year, to be honest with you. They're trying to get that started up. Crazy to think this would be the first time that that Connor McDavid would play for the national team outside of the World Juniors. He didn't play in the IAHF his rookie year. Only Jack Eichel played that year.
I hate to be the person who breaks this to you, Joanna Trachtenberg, but we did not win. It was a 5-2 final, but I appreciate the positivity. They win in our heart. They win in our heart.
Yeah.
And that actually does bring up a question is, will there be a 3-game win streak? That is the biggest question of the season right now, because I'm not sure it's possible.
So I saw your dad's question, and I kind of mentioned this on the last show. I could see this happening next week. Because you have San Jose at home, you have Chicago at home, and then you have Tampa Bay at home. And Tampa Bay has not been having a good season. San Jose, we know who San Jose is. And Chicago is another bottom feeder too. So we could have a three-game win streak there. And then after that, you play Anaheim. So we could have a 4-game win streak.
Anaheim just lost one of their top 4 defensemen too. So
yeah. So I can see a 4-game win streak happening here. You just got to hammer UPL. Ukko-Pekka-Luka win, like you say.
Ukko-Pekka-Luka win, yeah.
Yeah. Joanna, that's what I thought. It's saying 2-1 under the third buff. It wasn't saying final. Nice to see them win 3 in a row. John, the Sabres lost 5-2. Sadly, no 3-game win streak. Next week, though. Next week we'll have that.
Yeah,
I really do think so.
Bet next week.
Yeah. So I still believe that. I think that's literally because I was looking at the schedule ahead for the rest of this season, and no, it's not looking good for the rest of the season, to be totally honest with you. So that next week's our week.
Next week's our week. We gotta get that 3-game win streak.
Next week's our week. Next week's my birthday week. Make it my birthday present. Sabres, get a 3-game win streak. So yeah. And then the final thing I want to talk about the PWHL. So Women's Hockey League. The Women's Hockey League is actually a few things. Hallie Skamura, Amherst native, plays for Ottawa, scored the first goal in PWHL history, which is huge. So that's awesome. But not going over like the history of it. The things that they're doing. One, there's checking in that league, and they're throwing bodies out there. I mean, they're hitting. They're hitting better than the boys are right now in the NHL. And 2, did you see the penalty kill jailbreak that they have?
I love that rule. It incentivizes offense all the time.
Yeah.
And I love that.
The NHL has to consider that because that is amazing. Even though there's been a lot of shorthanded goals this year, at least in the Sabres games, but I would love to see that. Like you said, more offense, more goals, better. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. So,
yeah.
Those are just kind of like my takeaways from that. I mean, ladies, keep on killing it. Keep on throwing the bodies out there. Everyone likes hitting, so keep it rolling.
My takeaway is that it's incredibly fun. It's free to watch. They don't black out streams. You can watch it on YouTube for free. Yeah. It's fun hockey. I don't see any reason why if you like hockey, I don't see why you shouldn't watch the PWHL because it's free and available and it's good hockey. Yeah. No complaints there.
I was watching a little bit this weekend in between football games, so definitely it was entertaining. I mean,
who's your team?
I haven't decided yet. It's tough. There's no Buffalo team, so I can't go with a New York team. I can't go with a Toronto team. I can't go with an Ottawa team. I can't go with a Boston team. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are in areas that I hate. So I don't
You
know.
just eliminated like most of the teams, right?
I know. That's
What's
what I'm
left is
saying.
Montreal and Minnesota.
I guess I got to be a Minnesota guy. I got
Yeah.
nothing against Minnesota.
I was literally like going through and I'm like, I don't like any of these places. Like as a Buffalo fan, you got Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto in Canada, and then you
Yeah.
got New York City and Boston here in America. I'm like, there's literally only one option.
Yeah.
I gotta root for Minnesota.
Yeah,
Bring back the Buttes, but yeah, for now,
Mhm.
Minnesota.
I could definitely see if they expand. I could definitely see Buffalo getting a team.
Yeah,
It just makes sense. It's a great hockey market. It's the strongest. It's one of the strongest hockey markets in the U.S. So,
and we had a team in one of the dissolved leagues, so
yeah, that was like a weird situation because I think the Pagulas owned it and then they sold it before the league dissolved and then the league dissolved. So,
feel bad for whoever bought that, but
I think it just became like it's almost like the PLL for lacrosse where there's no like the owners just like the owners of the league or the CEOs or whatever just own the league. Yeah. So that's kind of what happened. I forgot. I don't even remember what that league was called. Was it WHL or something? Women's Hockey League. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just know if you go down to like the Northtown rank, you'd always see like the Buttes locker room.
Yeah. Do they still have that around or no?
I haven't been since the team dissolved, but
okay.
Last time I was there, yeah, that locker room was still there.
All right. So cool. I mean, I guess we can kind of like. There's nothing else really going on. You can end the show. Do you have any closing remarks at all?
I mean, tough loss just now, but we'll get them next week. You know, we got the Shark stuff coming. We'll get them next week.
I mean, the Sharks are going to be an ego booster. So you got what did I say we have?
Yeah, just like Columbus is going to be an ego booster. Yeah.
Yes, I did say that. I mean, who do the Sharks even have? They just have Logan Couture, right? Like that's the only.
We got Logan Couture, and
who's the other offensive player?
William Eklund.
Don't they have another guy too?
Probably. They're probably very forgettable.
I mean, yeah, the whole team. So yeah, I'm not afraid of the Sharks. Who's afraid of Sharks?
We're not afraid of the Sharks. They don't.
No one's
I'm not gonna say something that could jinx this, but
no one's afraid of Sharks.
It's gonna be a fun week. What are you hoping to see in this upcoming week? That's the last one that we always do.
I would like to say I would like to see the 1A goaltender and then the 2 goaltender. There's no 1B anymore.
The emergence of a 1-2 goaltender.
Yes. So UPL, let's give him the games. Run him till he basically dies. Just skate him, do whatever. He's the guy. He's your bell cow right now. Let him play. I want to see that. My expectations for the week. I mean, you're playing Ottawa at home. Play a good game against them. You've done that before. Vancouver's coming over from the West Coast. I mean, Vancouver's a very hot team right now. Sabres have a propensity to play good against hot teams and very good teams. I mean, every once in a while.
It's a frustrating dynamic that we have with this team. Yeah. Why can't you just beat the bad teams?
Yeah.
So we saw what you did to Boston, Vegas, and
New York.
But why can't you just not lose 9-4 to Columbus?
So play that game like it's a playoff game. Just compete. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. Just compete again, because tonight the team didn't show really any compete tonight. There's this thing where they just don't want to compete sometimes, which doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And you should beat. So next week, the last game that we'll have before we come back is Monday against San Jose. Don't play down to your competition when it comes to the Sharks. You are the better team. Now, I'm not saying you're going to smoke them, but show that you're further along in your building process than the Sharks are right now, because Sharks are bottom feeders right now. And that's all I'm going to say.
I like that. For what I'd like to see for this week is we got 2 of 3 wins this week. Continue that point pace. We should be able to do it with the upcoming games. 2 wins. It's not crazy. I believe in the team. They got this.
So 4 out of 6 points.
Yeah, 4 out of 6 points. Yeah.
Let's go for 5. Let's go for 5. Let's go for overtime against the Canucks. I think they can do it.
All right. 5 out of 6 points. With that, we have covered everything that we would like to have this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's a bunch of other content here on the Nickel City Mafia channel. If you like football, if you like golf, I think they're going to do a Buffalo food stream soon. I don't know when that's coming out, but that's something you might be looking forward to. So yeah, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and we will see you next week.
Hasta la vista.